You combine the presentation.
Establish a uniform B3 zoning designation across the development site and to help facilitate future commercial development in the area. The restaurant development site is approximately 0.71 acres in size. You can see that highlighted on this map in yellow, while the area to be rezoned is approximately 0.3 acres in size. The site is located along the south side of West Court Street between South Grand Avenue and South Orchard Street. Surrounding land uses and zoning classifications include a mixture of commercial properties and single-family homes across South Grant Avenue to the west. Those are zoned B3 and M2. Several contractor shops and a single-family home to the south. That area is zoned M2. A retail center and Edward Jones office across West Court Street to the north. That is zoned B2 and O2. And a variety of commercial and industrial properties across South Orchard Street to the east. And that area is zoned B3 and M2. Plan Commission review of the rezoning request and subsequent conditional use permit request is required since drive-through restaurants are a conditional use in the B3 district. The future land use map located within the city's comprehensive plan designates this property as planned mixed use. The future land use designation is intended to accommodate a variety of land uses such as residential, commercial, and office. This site is situated along a major commercial corridor in the city, and the majority of the West Court Street corridor is shown as planned mixed use on the future land use map to allow for flexibility in future development along the corridor. Within the planned mixed use future land use designation, the B3 zoning district is listed as an appropriate zoning classification. The comprehensive plan places an emphasis on encouraging infill, refill, and redevelopment of existing commercial areas over development of new acreage for single-use commercial. In this case, the project represents an investment on an infill site along a key commercial corridor in the city and creates additional sites for future development. As such, it is the opinion of staff that a rezoning of the site from M2 to B3 is appropriate and consistent with the intent of the comprehensive plan. On this slide, you will see the site plan for the proposed project. I would also note that staff did receive revised plans Friday afternoon addressing the initial site plan review letter that we had attached to our staff report. So the plans you are seeing tonight are those revised versions. The site plan depicts a 2,100 square foot drive-through restaurant, which would serve various food and drink options. 27 parking stalls are depicted in the surface parking area, and a sidewalk connection is provided from West Court Street to the site. A refuse enclosure would be constructed out of brick veneer with a steel gate located at the southern portion of the property adjacent to parking stalls and the drive-through lane. Outdoor lighting fixtures would be a combination of pole-mounted and building-mounted lighting to provide illumination for the parking area, pedestrian paths, in addition to the building's architectural features. The restaurant's drive-through lane begins on the southern portion of the site and wraps around the east side of the building where it terminates at the northeast corner of the restaurant. The drive-through lane can accommodate approximately 8 vehicles in the queue. The city engineer determined that a traffic impact analysis, or TIA, was not warranted in this instance given the proposed access configuration, traffic circulation pattern, and the expected level of traffic generation for the restaurant. Access is provided from South Grant Avenue as well as South Orchard Street via a shared driveway which extends between the two streets. There is no direct access to West Court Street provided for the project. The reasoning for the access configuration is that the preferred location for access is on the lower volume road, in this instance South Grant Avenue, as opposed to the higher volume road, again in this instance West Court Street. The proposed configuration is more desirable from a safety standpoint because it minimizes the amount of conflict points for vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists. With this in mind, the developer opted to not propose access along West Court Street in favor of access points off of South Grant Avenue, which is a dead-end street with very little existing traffic. On your screen now, you will see the grading and drainage plan for the proposed project. A shared on-site stormwater management facility is depicted to serve both the proposed development as well as the adjacent development sites. The city's engineering and utilities divisions have reviewed the grading and utility plans and determined that the plans generally comply with the applicable requirements, subject to certain revisions. Although it is possible that future revision may be required, staff expect that such revisions would be of a technical nature unrelated to the adequacy of existing public infrastructure which would serve the site. On this slide, you will see the landscape plan. The landscape plan for the project depicts street trees, as well as installations of varying type, which are provided throughout the site to meet the various applicable ordinance requirements. Notably, planting beds are depicted along the West Court Street frontage of the site and around the building foundation, and various shrubs and evergreen plantings are depicted around the proposed stormwater retention area. Here you will see the proposed building elevations. You're looking at the south building elevation on the left there and the north building elevation on the right. The restaurant will be approximately 21 feet in height. The exterior is comprised of black brick veneer, dark brown wall tile, white ephes, and pre-finished metal wall panels. Storefront windows are also depicted along the north and west elevations, while faux spandrel glass storefront windows are depicted along the east building elevation. A black stone wainscot wraps around the entire building. Staff believe the architectural standards have been adequately met by the proposed building elevations. The elevation plans also depict wall signage envisioned for the restaurant. As proposed, the building would have 105 square feet of wall signage. The sign ordinance would permit approximately 74 square feet of wall signage based on the size of the front face of the building. That would be the north elevation that we saw earlier. Given the orientation of the building is such that its smaller side is considered the front, staff feel as though it would be appropriate to allow an increase in the maximum amount of wall signage for the building. It is worth noting that if the allowable wall signage were to be calculated based on the west building elevation, which is the elevation on the bottom of the screen, approximately 119 square feet of wall signage would be allowed. And what you'll see on this slide is these are two photos of an existing Cousin Subs restaurant in Sun Prairie. These photos are reflective of what is being proposed here tonight. Staff did receive a public comment on Thursday evening regarding this conditional use request from a neighboring property owner. A copy of that comment was provided in our staff report for your review. As a reminder, this item is comprised of two separate requests and will require two separate public hearings. Staff recommends that following the first public hearing, the Plan Commission support a motion to forward the rezoning request to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. Staff also believes that this proposal demonstrates compliance with the standards for conditional use approval and recommends that following the second public hearing, the Plan Commission make the authorization listed in the staff memorandum and approve of the conditional use permit subject to the conditions outlined in the staff memorandum. John Hallborough, the project developer, is in attendance this evening and able to answer any questions you may have of him, and I can answer any questions you may have for staff.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Trey prior to open the public hearing? Trey, I just have a question. You made reference to the fact that some new information arrived on Friday and that the current site plan review letter is different. Were there strong deviations from what existed, or could you just briefly bullet for us what were those changes? Because we will then be saying in agreement to that site plan review letter.
Sure. And we did not revise the site plan review letter yet. I guess my point in making that is a lot of those points that were on the initial site plan review letter have been addressed in these new plans. So if I were to put together a new site plan review letter today, it would be significantly shorter than the one that was attached to our staff report.
Again, are there any other questions? Seeing none right now. Thanks, Trey. Okay, at this time, pulling my computer up. I'm going to open the public hearing. The first public hearing is going to be related to the rezoning of property located at 18 South Orchard Street and 101 South Grant Avenue from M2 to B3. So that's the public hearing that we just opened now. Anyone wishing to speak regarding the rezoning of property located at 18 South Orchard or 101 South Grant Avenue from M2 to B3, you would go to either one of the podiums, and if you would like to speak, state your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to speak regarding the rezoning of property located at 18 South Orchard Street and 101 South Grant Avenue from M2 to B3? Anyone wishing to speak regarding the rezoning?
Good evening. Just in regards...
Sir, could
Yeah,
you please
Caceres.
go ahead. Share your name and address.
Caceres, Beloit, Wisconsin. Just in regards to the building, I guess I would be against the rezoning because I'm against the site plan, which has E-entrance coming in through West Court. So I understand the zoning in this area is multiple zones. It's B3. It's a mix of everything. It's an odd location. You've got residential and everything else, but I would really just be against zoning if it means having the entryway come in through South Grant and South Orchard rather than West Court.
And I apologize, I don't know if it's your first or your last name. It's Mr. Cazares. If you could share the address in Beloit, we would appreciate that.
PO Box? PO
Well-
Box 251, Beloit?
Okay, that's fine. We just need to have that for a public record. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak regarding the rezoning of property? Anyone else wishing to speak? The rezoning of property located at 18 South Orchard Street and 101 South Grant Avenue from M2 to B3? Public hearing is closed. What are the wishes of the commission? Commissioner Weber?
Could we ask staff to address the letter that we got from the individual who was opposing because of the impact on his parking lot?
Okay. Certainly.
Sure, happy to. I believe the individual that just spoke during the public hearing is that same individual, Mr. Caceres, the owner and resident of the property immediately west of the site at the corner of South Grant and West Court Street. Trey can certainly provide some additional testimony, as I know he did speak with him directly before the letter was submitted. I think the concern expressed in the letter, as well as on the phone, was related to potential impacts affecting the existing curb opening and I think four-stall driveway / parking lot that, Trey, could you put the photo up, please? Of the property across the street. As you can see here on the screen, the property includes a driveway that has a rather lengthy curb opening, not meeting today's standards, but this has been in place for a long time and is allowed to continue to exist in its current form. As staff worked with the designer for the project on the subject site, the restaurant for the proposed use, and looked at access for cousin subs, as well as the plans for West Court Street, the corridor itself, in terms of future roadway improvements. There is a very strong desire to not have additional openings onto that arterial street and utilize the two local streets, side streets, that are connected to West Court Street on both the east and west side of this site. And the site plan, as you can see, and you've had in the materials attached to this staff report for this item, shows how access is provided to the site, extending through the block between Orchard and Grant, and circulating again back out through the drive-through out to the west side, South Grant Street, and then providing access out to Court Street. So those were the concerns, as I understand them, expressed. The comment would be that the proposed development will not result in any need for the property owner across the street to alter the existing driveway opening. There will be a need to probably be a bit more observant in terms of traffic that's generated by this commercial development on the site. But beyond that, we recommend or believe as a staff that the impact will be very minimal.
Are there any, Commissioner Williams?
On South Grant Street right now, from Court Street south, there's no parking on the east side for a ways. I don't know if it's the whole street or... And I'm assuming if there's no parking there now, it will continue.
Yeah, I don't believe parking is restricted on one side. Maybe you know.
I do know you're talking about South Grand Avenue, you said. I know there is a section of South Grand Avenue, looking at the Google Maps image, that has no parking in between the signs. But outside of that, I'm not sure that parking's restricted anywhere else on the street.
Is it pretty much this
Pretty much
lot?
pretty much, yeah. It'd be roughly where the access point would be to roughly where the shared access drive would be. There's 2 signs that say you can't park in between these 2 signs.
And that will continue with this development?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
No.
No? Is there a motion? Commissioner Udall?
Yeah, I move to forward the rezoning of 18 South Orchard Street and 101 South Grant Avenue from M2 to B3 to the City Council with a favorable recommendation.
So motion by Commissioner Udall, is there a second? Commissioner Weber has seconded the motion. Commissioner Udall, you still have the floor.
Nothing further.
Commissioner Weber?
It's a good idea to combine into one zoning in the entire area, and this cleans up something from the past.
Thank you. So there's a motion and a second. At this time, we'll vote. I don't know, what is the status? I am going to voice vote because oh, wait. No, I'm good. I'll voice vote.
I'm going to too because it won't come up.
Right. So I think half have it and half not. So let's just do a roll call vote. For those of you that have it, thank you very much, but.
Commissioner Jackson is absent. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Knox,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Voskel,
Yes.
Commissioner Udell,
Yes.
and Commissioner Markline. Excuse me.
Yes.
Motion carries 6 in favor in support of the motion to rezone the property.
Thank you. And that is to be on which council agenda then?
Yes, it'll move forward for City Council review on January 8th.
So we move to the second public hearing, which is the conditional use permit to construct a drive-through restaurant, Cousin Subs at 2117 West Court Street. Are there any questions specific to the conditional use permit with Trey prior to opening the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak regarding the conditional use permit to construct a drive-through restaurant, Cousin Subs at 2117 West Court Street, you would go to either one of the podiums and state your name and your address for the record. Anyone wishing to speak?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is John Halborough. My address 802 North 109th Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am here on behalf of Court Street Developers, or Evo Development, the applicant and the developer for the project. First, want to say thank you to staff for all their dedication, hard work through the process. I'm here this evening to answer any questions that you guys might have. More specifically related to Cousins, this will be the 6th store that I've developed for Cousins in the last few years. I will actually be the property owner and own the building. Cousins will be the tenant. Cousins generally is open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., but some store locations do vary depending on business volumes. Cousins does intend to hire 20 to 25 employees, part-time and full-time employees. Cousins, obviously a local, I use air quotes, Wisconsin company, started in the mid-1970s by 2 cousins. Sub shop operation, hot and cold subs, various beverage items, cheese curds, french fries, et cetera, et cetera. I can tell you that Cousins is very excited about the opportunity to come to Janesville, particularly on West Court Street, and in this particular location, redevelop an infill or a refill location and give it a new commercial use. So I'm available for any questions that any of you might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from any commission members? I guess the only question I would have is, it sounds like the resolution of the site plan review letter is accordance to.
We have no further yes, we tried to address as many of staff's comments as we could in the revisions that we submitted, and any other plans that come in, we'll make the changes and meet staff requirements.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. I see no other questions. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak regarding the conditional use permit to construct a drive-through restaurant, Cousin Subs at 2117 West Court Street?
PO Box 251 in Beloit. I don't want to take too much time. I'm not against the business. It's just, if you could look at the site plan and reconsider the entryway through West Court to cut down any traffic on Grant and Orchard. So there's an open lot. Well, I think it's all one parcel, so you have that open space beyond the yellow box. I'm looking at this map. And there seems to be plenty of room there for an entry from West Court, if you were to just reconsider the site plan so you can, for that purpose. Thanks.
Mr. Cazares, I have a question. Your address is Beloit. Do you own the Hobby Lobby property, or could you be specific as to which property? Hobby Shop, I'm sorry. I apologize, the Hobby Shop. Could you specify which property is yours?
Yeah, that's the one, the hobby
Okay.
shop there.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to assume, and I apologize for misstating what your shop
Maybe
is
I should have
called.
made that clear, I'm sorry. Yep. The
Okay.
hobby shop.
I just wanted to make sure. Commissioner Williams?
What type of business is it there? I am,
Half is a residence and the other half is an office or shop. It's not currently rented at the moment.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Weber has a question.
Sure.
Mr. Casares?
First of all, the area to the south where you said there seems to be a lot of room down there, if you look on the site plan, it shows that there's a detention area going in there for stormwater management. I don't know if- Trey, you can-
Could you put that on the, thank you.
South or,
He's going to put the map up shortly, and he'll be able to refer to that.
The one with yellow on it, Troy, or Trey.
And can you just stay there so we can mouse?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
I think he meant to the east. The vacant lot to the east.
I meant to the east, yes, that's all one parcel. So beyond the yellow box, you have to the east, you have almost an identical size area there. That's going to be an empty space.
my understanding was that was to be used for another development?
I don't know.
It is. So, is that correct?
That's correct. The certified survey map that you approved by consent earlier this evening does portion that off as a separate developable lot. So the cousin subs would be one lot. That area to the right where there's an existing billboard would be a second lot. And then the area south of the shared driveway would be a third lot.
Understanding that the property is vacant and they have a right to develop their property, help us to understand why you think this is going to cause a problem for your business and residents in your building to have those trips there, acknowledging that there are actually two driveways so that their ingress and egress is split along their property.
It's a quiet street now. It's just, there's residences there and that storage unit there. It's just a quiet street. And this is going to open up a lot of traffic. That's the difference is the amount of traffic flow. And I know that pulling in and out of my parking lot is going to be more difficult when there's more traffic.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing I just want to state along that same, the rezoning is a small piece that we looked at this evening, but the bulk of the rest of that property is properly zoned for a type of development such as this. So, again, and it is what we refer to as infill development. It's kind of an odd piece, right? But it is currently zoned, the majority of it, and now based on our decision, but it will go to the city council in January to vote. We feel that that one little sliver also fulfills the rest of the zoning that matches the bulk of the property. So
Well,
I just,
Thanks for clarifying that, yeah.
pardon?
Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone else wishing to speak regarding the conditional use permit to construct a drive-through restaurant Cousin Subs at 2117 West Court Street? Anyone else wishing to speak? Public hearing is closed. What are the wishes of the commission? Commissioner Williams?
I move to make the authorization as listed in the Planning Division memorandum dated December 18, 2023, to modify the ordinance requirements applicable to the proposed developer's wall signage area. And then, should I make the second one also?
Let's vote on the first one. Second by Commissioner Knox. Any further comments? Voice vote?
Commissioner Jackson is absent. Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Knox?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Commissioner Voskel?
Yes.
Commissioner Udell?
Yes.
And Commissioner Markline?
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Commissioner Williams, you have the floor.
I move to find the proposed development is compliant with the standards for the conditional use approval as prescribed by the Janesville zoning ordinance, and approve the conditional use permit to construct a drive-through restaurant at 2117 West Court Street, subject to the conditions listed in the Planning Division memorandum dated December 18, 2023.
Commissioner Knox? Seconds? Just a formality, because we're not using the site plan, I guess we are using the memorandum, but it's not the same, the date of the site plan review letter is, I don't know what it is.
It is December 6th.
6th or December 18th?
I can clarify. So we didn't put together a new site plan review letter yet. That was why we had still attached the original one from December 6th. I guess my explanation was that if I were, or when I do put together a revised site plan review letter, the majority of those comments have been addressed in these revised plans that you saw tonight. So you would still include the site plan letter that's listed and attached to our staff memorandum at this time, because there hasn't been a new one put together yet.
Okay, I just didn't know if we needed to note the administrative changes or not. That's all within the department, so I apologize. With that said, there's a motion by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Knox. Voice vote, please.
Commissioner Jackson is absent. Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Knox?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Commissioner Voskel?
Yes.
Commissioner Udell?
Yes.
And Commissioner Markline?
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Okay, so what had just happened is the conditional use permit, which stays within the purview of the Plan Commission, just was approved by the Plan Commission. However, as I indicated earlier, the rezoning does have to go to the City Council in January for that vote. But depending upon what that vote is, will determine if you can move the project forward. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Moving on to item number 3, public hearing, conditional use permit amendment to construct a maintenance storage building at 1717 Center Avenue, Rock County Drive, Daniel Hale Williams Resource Center.
Good evening, Commission. I'm Brian Schweigel, Senior Planner. This request was submitted by the Rock County Director of Facilities Management, Brent Sutherland. This is the location of the Dr. Daniel Hale Williams Resource Center. The property is zoned B3, General Commercial District, and operates under a conditional use permit due to the size of the facility and the size of the site. The existing conditional use permit must be amended in order to allow the proposed project to proceed. The yellow outline that you see on the map on the screen roughly depicts the project location in a wooded area located behind or east of the Resource Center. And the Resource Center property line is outlined in the thick black line. This is the site plan for the proposed project. You can see, if I can get the mouse to work, on the left-hand side here, you can see it would be the easterly exterior wall of the Dr. Daniel Hale Williams Resource Center, and also the small area that bumps out from that building. So just for reference purposes, that's the large existing former grocery store on the site. And then the new building, the proposed storage garage, is this rectangular gray area here to the right or further to the east of the main building on the site. So the proposed project consists of a detached 3,000 square foot garage that would be used primarily for the storage of maintenance vehicles and equipment for the Resource Center property. Access to the proposed garage would be extended from the existing perimeter drive around the building, and the existing parking stalls in this area of the site behind the existing building would remain in place. This is the exterior elevation plan for the project. It depicts a single-story building, roughly 20 feet in height. There would be 3 overhead garage doors and 2 smaller entry doors, all on the building's west side, facing the rear elevation of the Resource Center. The exterior is comprised of engineered wood siding and metal roofing, and staff believe that the zoning ordinance architectural standards are met by the depicted building design. The required public notices have been sent, and staff have not been contacted by the public about this project. Staff believe that the criteria for approval are met, and we recommend that the Plan Commission approve the requested conditional use permit amendment following a public hearing. I would also note that project representatives are in attendance this evening and able to answer questions and may wish to provide additional information, and I'd be happy to take any questions that you have of staff.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions? Commissioner Weber?
Yes, Brian, it looks like this building will be totally non-visible from neighboring properties with the woods around 3 sides of it and the much larger office building to the west of it. Is that accurate?
Certainly a fair assessment, yes.
Okay, and secondly, can I assume that there's no storage allowed in that area in front of the garage or the storage building, that's strictly for access into the building?
That's correct. In this zoning district, in any of our commercial districts, there are prohibitions against the outdoor storage of materials. You could theoretically see vehicles, parked in that area immediately in front of the garage on occasion, but materials, equipment, that sort of thing, you wouldn't see in that area due to that prohibition. And I don't believe that the county can certainly speak to their intent, but I don't believe that they intend to have any of that outdoor storage anyway.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Brian? Seeing none. Thanks, Brian. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak regarding the conditional use permit amendment to construct a maintenance storage building at 1717 Center Avenue, Rock County Drive, Daniel Hale Williams Resource Center. You can go to either one of the podiums, state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Brent Sutherland, Director of Facilities Management for Rock County. I live at 4306 South Borlance Lane in Janesville, Wisconsin. Just to answer Mr. Weber's comment, no, we want everything inside of the building. That's just the approach for access to get into there. When we first started with that building design, we actually had a space that was allocated for flammable liquids and, so snow blowers, lawn care type. And once we got done with the design, we needed a little bit of that for egress, so that went away. So now we were to the point of needing to have a place to be able to house things for maintenance equipment that has gasoline or things like that.
Commissioner Knox has a question. Commissioner Knox.
I know that this is still a work in progress. You're starting to get the bearings of this new building. My question is with this particular site, is this the plan? Do you feel that this particular space is going to give you long-term needs, or will there be a need to come back to the Plan Commission with future requests to build that out?
No, for the garage, we probably could have got by with the 2-stall, but it didn't make sense to go through all of the upfront investment with the 2-stall, and that's why we went with the 3-stall. I can't speak, and we did plan down the road for office space for build out, so that extra 5 acres in the back was for any potential growth. And we had put growth within the building design when we first started, but it slowly kept filling up. But then when COVID came in, that allowed us to kind of restructure where some departments could work from home and some internal. So we do have growth. So we don't even anticipate growth of the actual building for quite some time.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, you bet.
Commissioner Williams has a question.
Is it also your intention to just remove as fewer trees as needed?
Yes, yes. Staff still would like to have a walking trail back there, so I'm just trying to figure out the best way to fit that in to get a trail.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. No other questions. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hi, my name is Rich Van Dorn. I'm at 555 South River Street. I work with Angus Young and just representative here as well. And I have no comments to add, but I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Van Dorn from commission members? We see none. Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing now. What are the wishes of the commission? Commissioner Weber?
Move to find the proposed development is compliant with the standards for conditional use approval as prescribed by the Janesville zoning ordinance, and approve a conditional use permit amendment to construct a maintenance storage building at 1717 Center Avenue, subject to compliance with the conditions of the site plan review letter dated December 8th, 2023.
There's a motion by Commissioner Weber. Is there a second? Commissioner Williams makes a second. Commissioner Weber, anything further?
Nothing further.
Commissioner Williams?
No.
At this time, I'll ask for a voice vote, please.
Commissioner Jackson is absent. Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Knox?
Yes.
Commissioner Weber?
Yes.
Commissioner Voskel?
Yes.
Commissioner Udell?
Yes.
And Commissioner Markline?
Yes.
The motion is unanimously approved.
Good luck with your project. Moving on to item number 4, public hearing zoning of property located at 2425 South Oak Hill Avenue to R1 upon attachment.
Wayne, could you
Oh,
switch the
sorry.
screen back? Sorry. All right. Again, Commission, Brian Schweigel, Senior Planner. Karen and Christine Dahl have requested attachment of property that they own located at 2425 South Oak Hill Avenue in the town of Rock. That's the area outlined in yellow on the map on the screen. Attachment is an alternative form of annexation that's used in areas where a boundary plan agreement has been established between two neighboring jurisdictions. In this case, the property is located within the city of Janesville, town of Rock, cooperative boundary plan area. And it's a little bit difficult to see on the map, but the city limits line follows essentially along the north and east sides of the development site here. So all of the developed property that you see to the north, to the east, and then even further to the south beyond the immediate vicinity here is already within the city. The applicants reside at the neighboring property to the north, so that's the property that has the blue roof here, the single-family residence there. Their property is in the city, and they maintain the subject property as a single-family residential rental unit. The applicants intend to sell the subject property in the near future, and they've submitted a certified survey map to relocate the boundary between their two neighboring lots. The subject property is developed with a single-family residence. The neighboring residential properties that are already in the city have an R1 single-family and two-family residence district zoning classification. This next map is an excerpt from the city's comprehensive plan, future land use map. Both the comprehensive plan as well as the cooperative boundary plan identify the subject property as appropriate for low-density residential land uses. So consistent with these established city plans, existing development on the property, and the zoning classification of surrounding property that's in the city, staff recommend that following a public hearing, the Plan Commission support a motion to forward this zoning of property to R1 upon attachment to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. I would note that staff have not been contacted by the public regarding this request, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions of Brian? Seeing none. Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing, and I'm going to close the public hearing. What are the wishes of the commission? Commissioner Udell?
I move to forward the proposed zoning of property located at 2425 South Oak Hill Avenue to R1 upon attachment to the city council with a favorable recommendation.
There's a motion by Commissioner Udell, second by Commissioner Knox. Commissioner Udell?
I know the property area well. Swam in that pool south of there many times.
Top that, Commissioner Knox.
I have nothing to top that.
Voice vote, please.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson is absent. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Knox,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes,
Commissioner Voskel,
Yes.
Commissioner Udell,
Yes.
and Commissioner Markline.
Yes.
All in support of the motion. Motion carries.
Thank you, and that also goes to the January, I can't remember the date.
8th.
8th meeting for City Council, for those that may be viewing. Okay, moving on to new business. There is no new business this evening to discuss, which moves us to item number 7, the Director's Report.
Thank you. Just a couple items to cover here. At our last meeting of calendar year 2023, at the last City Council meeting of December 7th, the council actually approved 7 items on that agenda that had previously come before the Plan Commission. I won't run through those. Those are included in the agenda materials that you've received, but would like to mention that the Janesville City Council did approve or adopt the ordinance which provides an update to the City of Janesville Comprehensive Plan. Speaking of meetings, we anticipate that the next Plan Commission meeting, which would be regularly scheduled for January 2nd of next year, is likely to be canceled, at least at this point, given the items at least circulating for review within the division. I think that staff will notify the commission later this week to just confirm that that's the case, once we're sure that that meeting will likely be canceled. And then finally, as 2023 draws to a close, I would like to thank the Plan Commission for volunteering your time to assist the Janesville community in the review and approval of the many different things that come before this body over the course of a year. Your ongoing guidance, direction, and decision-making continues to shape the community as it grows and changes over time. So thank you for all the hard work and time and effort in this last year. In particular, there were additional meetings related to the comprehensive plan update. We know that required some additional sacrifice on your behalf to come down and participate in that, and we'd just like to thank you for bringing that project to conclusion here within the last month. And then, I guess that wasn't last, I'd like to extend a safe and enjoyable holiday season to all of you as well. So, thank you.
Oh, well, thanks, Dwayne. I mean, it goes without saying, we've said it many times, but we could not have been able to do what we did with the help of your staff, you and the staff, to get through that process of the comp plan review. And the reality of it is, we're not done. So I guess, we'll start up after the first of the year. I don't know when RFPs are going out as it relates to the next phase, if that's in the first quarter or second quarter, do you know?
First quarter,
Okay,
yes.
so first quarter, so then technically second quarter, we will initiate the next steps.
Yes, forward with the consultant selection and initial efforts on the land development code rewrite.
Which will be very engaging with the community, so looking forward to it. So I just want to take the opportunity to wish all the Plan Commission members happy holidays, spend time with family, shut down, don't check your email. Those calls that come on your phone, don't answer them if you don't need to. But, I think we should all feel great about the fact of what we just accomplished with the help of staff, because we're all volunteers. We had 12 meetings in addition to our 2 monthly meetings every month. So we've done good work, but it's not over. So thank you all. Happy holidays. We're adjourned. I skipped the plan.